Hi, we're the Zachary team. I'm Kristina and this is my husband Gabriel. We're San Antonio's realtor couple and we're here to talk to you today about the supposed bubble that's going on in today's market. So please stay tuned for all of the information, and if you have any questions, please ask down below and sound off as much as you want to. But cue the intro and get right into it. So like I said earlier, we're San Antonio's realtor couple. So if you're looking into buying, selling, or investing in San Antonio or surrounding areas, please let us know. We'd love to help out. Our number is 210-504-5301. But let's get into it. We have a ton of information to cover and we're not going to try to keep you too long. So darling, what is happening in today's market as we speak?
Okay, as you know, what is currently happening is that there's a little bit of a shift going on. This shift is scaring a lot of people. So what we used to be in is a seller's market. And if you want to learn more about a seller's market, we have a video that we did and explained everything about a seller's market. Now we're shifting a little bit further away from a seller market. We're still in a seller's market, but we're shifting away. So a few things happened just recently that made a lot of people start worrying a little bit about real estate, especially with them not knowing a lot about what's going on, like the interest rates going up.
Also, I think people also hearsay and a bunch of myths keep spreading around, so I think that bumps up the worrisome and the anxiety of today's buyers.
Yeah, which is a great point, such as the whole thing about, are we going to crash? Are we in a bubble? A lot of people are talking about a bubble, but the thing is, what is a bubble? To go a little bit very quickly over what is a bubble is when anything, in fact, it doesn't just have to be with real estate, like it can be cars or anything, when they're over evaluated, there's a lot of factors that can go into why the value of that product or that commodity can start being overvalued or overhyped from what it really is, and then eventually it keeps on expanding like a bubble until it bursts, and that's when you have a crash. So is this what happened? Is this what is happening right now? Is this what we're seeing?
No.
Data, just like Kristina said, doesn't really support this idea. First of all, what we're seeing is that everything is increasing. That's just inflation, and inflation is high these days and it's increasing. So everything, the price of everything is increasing. The price of cars, the price of commodities, the price of gas. Don't get me started about gas, right? So everything is increasing. Why shouldn't real estate increase as well? And it has been increasing, especially what happened in the past couple of years because of COVID is that a lot of people started having money because they're not going out, they're not spending that much. Also because of the government
lowering the interest rates.
Lowering the interest rate in order to refresh the market and recover from the crash that we had in 2008. All of these factors came together in order to increase the demand on real estate. More and more people wanted to buy houses. Now, very basic economics, when demand increases, the price also increase, especially
supply and demand.
Exactly, especially if supply doesn't meet that demand. So if you have a limited amount of things and a lot of people want these things,
and I think the actual statistic was 37-1, and now I think it's 24-1.
Well, there you go. I don't know where you got that statistic, but
one of my mentors.
I trust her. So basically what happened during COVID is that a lot of builders couldn't keep up with the demand because of supplies, because of material, because of labor, and all of these things were slowed down because of COVID, which led to that there weren't that many houses being built. But the demand was increasing for houses and kept on increasing, and therefore the prices kept on increasing. Now those prices are not speculative prices. What's the difference between speculative price and actual price? Speculative price is when I'm speculating, like with stock exchange, for example, that this is the value of something. Actual price is when the market dictates that it's an actual price of something. So what we saw in the past couple of years is that a lot of people would go over asking or over market value, and we saw that a lot of people went way over. Like sometimes we would see like $50,000 over asking and even more, and that did inflate things a little bit. However, that does not change the market value of things. The market value, the listing price was still the same. People were paying higher premiums in order to get their offers accepted over others because there was a lot of competition over who gets the house. So the extra of the house, it was going as a premium to get their offer accepted, correct? Currently, what we're seeing is that homes are still increasing in value. However, this shift that we're talking about, it's not affecting San Antonio that much yet. San Antonio
we're
starting to feel it. So all around the country, we're kind of like catching up with a lot of things. So the market has been going up, and of course, as you know, anything that goes up has to kind of go down right now. So, and that's what we're starting to see, a leveling out towards
like a curve.
Yeah, a new normalcy, where things were not normal previously, and now they're starting to go back to what it was supposed to be. The prices in themselves, we're seeing increase in everything. Rent is increasing, so I'm going to share some statistics about that. And the statistics I'm sharing today is about San Antonio specifically, since we focus on San Antonio market, but you're going to see that those statistics reflect across the country. Maybe some states or some cities more than others, but it's the general in the country. So we are seeing a little bit of slowdowns and a little bit of leveling. However, at least in San Antonio, the statistics are not supporting a lot of that. Like, in fact, actually, if we compare it,
May 2021, it was
34
days on the market. May 2022 is 28 days on the market.
So as you can see, actually, homes are staying less time on the market. However, we are also seeing that people are starting to lower down the price, and we're not seeing as many people putting that major or big premium on getting their offer accepted.
Over asking.
Exactly. They're not putting a lot of money over asking in order to get the house. And the reason we speculate for that is that the inventory starting to catch up. So, for example, last year, May of last year, we had enough inventory to last us 1.2 months. So if no more inventory entered the San Antonio market, it would take 1.2 months for all the inventory to be sold. Now this inventory is increasing a little bit, not by much, but it's
slowly but surely it's starting to increase more and more.
Last month of this year, the inventory could last us 1.6 months. So we're seeing that there's coming more inventory on the market. Also, sellers are starting to see the new normalcy. There's not that many offers or multiple offer situations that are happening. So therefore, they're lowering the price. They're trying to meet what the market says. So going back to the bubble, because we haven't really covered all of that yet. We personally don't believe that we're in a bubble, because what caused the bubble in the first place was overvaluing and a lot of people being able to buy homes that they can't afford, which led to a crash. Now, right now, the lending practices are very strict and very regulated. So it's not easy to get a loan anymore. And it's not cheap either, especially now that the interest rates are going high. It's not that cheap as it used to be a few years ago to get a loan. So for you to be able to afford the house, you have to be making money and therefore be able to pay for the home. So another thing that we're seeing with the interest rate is that although it has increased the past few months, it's still under the national average. The national average is 6.2, or in the vicinity of 6.2. Currently, the interest rates from 2s and 3s, right now it's in the mid and high 5s. So we're still under the national average. So it's still a good market to buy in. The thing also that controls this bubble is the value of the homes. We're not seeing that the homes are being overvalued. They're going for what they really are. And that's just our personal opinion. We don't think there's a crash coming, not at least in the housing market, not in San Antonio. We believe that the market is going to continue, that where the home prices are going to continue to go higher. Interest rates will continue to go higher because interest rates regulate the market. So it will continue to rise, so it will become more and more expensive for buyers to buy homes, and that's going to lower the demand a little bit. It would give an opportunity for the inventory to rise up and meet the demand, and that's going to cause a little bit of a flattening where there's going to be
No,
more
I would
inventory.
just say it's plateauing.
More inventory, less buyers. So what do you think that's going to cause? How is it going to be for buyers and sellers in a market like that where things are a little bit leveled?
For sellers, you're gonna have to learn how to adjust with the market. I think there's still that after effect where it's like things are changing, but there's still like dirt and debris behind, and everybody's still clinging on. They're still clouded by all the dirt and debris that just happened, right? Everybody's like running and running, and it's like slowly dissipating. But the sellers are still like, can be under this facade that I can put my house, let's say, for $350, and maybe I do want $380 for it or $390, but I'm gonna list it competitively. I'm gonna put it $350, and then they're thinking that they're gonna get $380, $390.
Yeah.
Because that's what's been happening. So why wouldn't they think it's gonna happen to them? But if the realtors are educating them on the market and how things are going, then maybe they'll get an offer for $360.
Yeah.
Maybe $370, or it'll be even closer. And buyers also are going to start being a little bit, feel more courage and feel more comfortable with decisions such as asking for concessions or repairs.
Demanding
To be more demanding, to maybe level up the closing costs instead of the buyer having to not only go over asking price, but to kind of pay for everything else, like title and survey and all that other stuff. So I think there's going to be, sellers need to adjust, and they need to get ready for kind of that little bit of reality.
So to support what you're saying a little bit about like selling, let's look at the statistics between like May of this year and May of last year. What we're seeing is that the active listings are increasing. Like for example, last month the active listings in San Antonio were 5,580 versus last year, May last year, they were 4,418. So we are seeing more houses on the market. Does that mean that more houses are being sold? Actually, no. Less houses are being sold. So we're seeing that last year, May of last year, there was 3,780 closings. This year, there's 3,694 closings. The difference is not that huge. But what we're starting to see, and that's, again, like I said, San Antonio is kind of catching up with every all the other markets. What we're starting to see is a slowdown. The market hasn't slowed down yet, but things are going to start cooling off.
And to go on to the slowdown, I think sellers are like, well, if I list it on Thursday, I'm going to be under contract by Monday. Or I'm going to have multiple offers. I'm going to have 10 offers on the table. And that's true for some cases, but it's going to lessen, and you may get lucky and be that seller who falls into that situation. But be definitely prepared that you will, maybe your house will last longer than the 7 days. Maybe it's going to be a market for 21 days. And it's not going to be so much more over asking, and the buyer is going to be a little bit more confident in their demands and what they're wanting from the contract. So I think that's just kind of what sellers need to be prepared for, to hear from their realtor, and their realtor should educate them on the market and what's going on.
So there's usually two strategies that we recommend for sellers. It's either going high and seeing what the market says, or going low and creating a bidding war.
True, but most sellers don't like to see price changes. Most sellers don't like to go lower. It's kind of demotivating.
Yeah. So what would you recommend, like in the coming market, that as we
list it for $1 million?
what would you think would be a better strategy for the coming market?
I think the better strategy would be to maybe list it at market value or a little bit higher, and expect this. Don't expect just inflation. Don't expect too much, and go in with willing to be able to negotiate on compromising with the buyer, and listening to your agent, and being able to not be so, I don't want to say the word greedy, because there's such negative connotations connected to that, but they need to be, I think, prepared into more of a negotiation.
So going back to the bubble, one more element that I wanted to discuss about the bubble. So in 2008,
I wouldn't necessarily call it a bubble either, because a bubble makes it seem like it could pop, and it's super fragile. I think we should call it like a balloon.
No, it's neither, because we're talking about whether if there's a bubble or not. I don't think there is a bubble, to be honest, because if we compare to what was happening in 2008, like rent was stagnant, right? But home values were increasing with no reason. There was no reason behind the prices for houses other than that just a lot of people wanted to buy them. But what we're seeing right now is rent is increasing exponentially as well. According to Zyper, the rent in San Antonio alone increased for the regular 2 bedrooms by 39%. 39% over, like, from last year. That is crazy. 39%. So if you it's almost 50%. So if you were renting for $1,000 a month, you're probably paying $1,500 now. This supports that everything is increasing. Usually the best indicator whether it's a good time to buy a home or not, if rent, what you're going to be paying in rent is very close to what you're going to be paying in mortgage. Of course, mortgage is a little bit more expensive because you're paying the premium of ownership, right? But rent, it's all money down the drain. You're never going to get this money again. So you are paying, it's like leasing a car versus buying a car. Same idea. People start realizing that with the coming market right now, rent is going to be very close, if not as almost as much as paying mortgage. So you can find a house or a nice property for the same amount that you would be renting right now. And that shows you that there's a little bit of equilibrium, that this inflation and prices is not coming out of nowhere. You know, it's seen somewhere else.
But I also think for buyers, I think it's time for them to turn inward and to talk to them, like talk to themselves or talk to their family, and think about their lifestyle. And I think being a buyer now is not as, I think it's less risky, but they think with the rising of the rates, they're a little bit more nervous and they're afraid of a crash and all that stuff. But I think buyers need to really do their homework on renting or buying, and then they really need to see their lifestyle. Is that going to fit their 5-year plan, 10-year plan? So I think they have more thinking space, and I think buyers can kind of like breathe a little bit. They're not like, I need to do how much over asking and what do I need to ask for? Oh my gosh, I need to give it like all the way just because I want this house and beat the other 20 buyers.
And I think it's going to get better as well for buyers as we move closer and closer towards a leveled market. It's going to get easier for buyers as well. Like, buyers were having such a difficult time in the past 2 years.
Yeah, and I think buyers can also take solace in that their offers will be accepted. I think a lot of times they would put in like 7, 8, 10 offers, which is still, again, going on, but we're reaching a stagnant period, I think. So you can definitely have more confidence, like, maybe not one offer, but hey, like 3 offers instead of 10 offers rejected until you get that one.
The thing that we hear a lot though from buyers is like, hey, interest rates are going up, the house prices are high, I'm gonna wait a little bit until interest rates go down.
Yeah, or I'm gonna wait until the market comes back down, or the housing market, or anything goes down. I think they don't really they know, but they're like, it just needs to settle. It just needs to come back down.
So what do you think? What would you tell these people?
Set your expectations to be more realistic. I think that's what we're hoping for. That's what everybody wants, of course, because we always want to save money. We always want the best deal. But just kind of be realistic with it. Nothing is going to go down. It's either going to stay stagnant or rise. We don't see like a huge dip. And if there is a small dip, it's very, very minor. And you're going to have to get it within like that 1 or 2 day time frame. And like you're going to have to lock down that rate and find out ways. But that's where a realtor comes into handy. And that's where if they have connections with good lenders, you can definitely kind of stay on top of it, and that way when you need to can lock down and it's like down like 0.2 points or something, you can hop in on it and stuff like that. So I think you need to, again, talk to your realtor, be educated and be knowledgeable of the market.
To add to that, I think what they don't realize, what a lot of buyers don't realize, is that, okay, let's assume that the interest rates go down, for example, right? I'm gonna buy right now a house at the interest rate of 5, which or 5.5, and then maybe like in 8 or 10 months it'll go down to 4.
And they think they're gonna be saving a ton of money.
Exactly, they're gonna be saving a ton of money. And in the time period of all the mortgages that I've paid with that higher interest rate, chances are, because if we look at the numbers of how houses are being evaluated, like take for example the median price last year for homes was 146 per square foot. This year it's 180 per square foot. So, and to translate that into like actual home prices, last year the median price was,
if a house was for a median price of 277, 250, it would be now worth 345, or huge jump.
Exactly. So almost in a year, right, your home value increased by $70,000, right? $70,000 made into your equity. You built equity in that home, you bought it for X, now it's X plus 70,000, right? For example, that period, whatever interest rate you would have paid more would have been insignificant in comparison to the equity that you've bought. So if you're waiting for it to go down, that's fine and dandy and everything. It may not, it may go up, nobody knows. but you're losing out on the equity that you could be building in the house during that time. And worst case scenario, if it does go down, you can always refinance and get your interest rate down. So you would end up winning both ways.
It's on your side as a buyer because, like you said, refinancing, and you always have, I mean, pretty much that option.
Yeah. Whereas if they don't buy now, they risk not only the interest rates to keep going up,
maybe coming in with a lower down payment. They risk
not making equity.
Let's say they have a home that they're interested in right now. Like, let's say they can afford $350.
Yeah.
Or like, let's go $270.
Yeah.
$270. That house, and they could afford it right now.
Yeah.
But maybe a month or two from now, that house is going to be worth $290, $300, and that's out of your pre-approval range. So you just lost out on something, and now you have to go for something that, when you were looking at the 230s, 240s, you're like, ugh, I don't like the homes in that area. Now that's
what you can afford.
That's what you can afford. That's what you're kind of stuck with a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't think, to be honest, that the market prices, how high they're going, matches how much people's income is increasing. So chances are in 10 months you're still going to be making the same money, right? Whereas where the housing market is going to be in 10 months, chances are, again chances because all of that is speculative, is going to be like at least 10% from where it is right now. And that's even if it slows down, because it's been increasing like at least 50% in the past few years. So let's just go for a moderate number, 10%. Like, your income doesn't increase by 10% in 10 months or in a year, you know? So therefore, just like Kristina was trying to say, you won't be able to afford that house later on. Mixed between the interest rate and the natural increase in home values. It's
so all in all, what's the best advice you can give to?
I would say, again,
to buyers and sellers.
Yeah, well, for buyers, for example,
you're supposed to say to work with the realtor.
Buyers first, I would say reach out to a realtor, let them run those numbers with you. Also reach out to a lender, and if you don't know a good lender, ask your realtor and they will recommend some, and let them run those scenarios with you. Okay, what if I buy now? What if I buy later? What if I buy later and want to refinance? What can I afford now? And it's not going to hurt you, and there's no obligation whatsoever to see what's available in the market right now. Talk to a lender, see what you can afford, and see what that amount can get you in the market, and then wait a couple of months if you want and start seeing how that whatever you can afford, how it's starting to evaluate. Do your due diligence, do your research, but definitely talk to a professional, whether it's a realtor or a lender, and that's from the buyer's side. From the selling side, I would say if you're in a hurry to sell, or if you're planning on selling, you know that you're going to sell, I think now is the best time to sell, because as the market starts slowing down, buyers are going to have more and more power. And as the inventory increases, you're going to be competing with more and more houses.
So get on it while it's a seller's market.
Get on it while it still is a seller's market, where you can still get those premiums, where you can still get those upper hands in negotiations. If you're not in a rush to sell, if you don't need to sell, then don't. You know, there's no rush.
No, honestly, I think the best advice is just to call 210-504-5301 if you're in the San Antonio area. Don't call us if you're in Manhattan or Pittsburgh. We can get you in touch with the realtor over there.
Unless you want to move to San Antonio.
And there you go, yeah. But if you're not here or going to be here.
So if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. Thumbs up. We make all sorts of videos for home buyers, home sellers. We do home tours, we do builders.
Informative videos just like this one.
So make sure you check our channel. Let us know what you think.
We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok with the Zachary team across all boards.
What do you think? Do you think there is a bubble? Do you think there's going to be a crash?
Sound off below.
Yeah, give us a comment below, and let's discuss this further. If you need any help about anything real estate, do reach out. Thank you for watching.
Disclaimer, we don't tell the futuro.
Yeah, we don't know the future. Just like she said, we don't know the
Disclaimer.
Future. Yeah. All right, thank you guys, and
thank you for watching.